Hey guys, Kayla Payne here. In today's video, I'm going to show you a fast and cheap way to make a temporary paint booth in which you can spray high gloss finishes. This is exactly the setup that I use whenever I'm painting my high gloss furniture, and I hope that it will help you out in achieving a more dust-free end result that we all want so badly, right? Also, don't forget to check out the description below where I've linked to all of the products and the supplies that I'm using in this video, and don't forget to download your free copy of the Glossy Furniture Guide, link down below. It's where I've linked and talked about all of the tools and all of the products that I use whenever I'm painting high gloss furniture. I think that's it. Like and subscribe, and let's get to today's video. So the very first thing that I did before putting this on the floor was I vacuumed and I swept out my shop floor. It's not perfectly clean, but I got most of the loose dust and debris off of it. Then I started rolling out this shingle underlayment all over the floor where I'm going to build my booth, and then I duct taped all the seams together. So once the floor is covered, you can start building your plastic walls. And I just take the plastic sheeting and I attach it to my zip wall system and my poles. Then you can just start setting your poles where you want your four corners to be, and all you have to do is make sure that the pole is super tight and against the ceiling. You want to make sure that all that tension is up against the ceiling, and then whenever you attach your other poles, you just want to make sure that you get your plastic stretched as tightly as possible so that there's not a gap between the plastic and the ceiling, and keep going around the room. For this booth, I believe I used 3 rolls of the plastic sheeting. So if you need to, if you end a roll and need to start another one, just overlap the edges and connect it to the pole and keep on going. So if you are building a booth just because you want to contain overspray, then once you meet your 4 corners, you can basically be finished, because a booth like this will contain your overspray. Like if you were spraying your garage and you didn't want to get paint overspray on all of your things in the garage, this would be enough. But if you are wanting to take it a step further and paint something in high gloss, then this next step is crucial, which is what I am doing here. I am making this booth because I want to do the best I can to control my environment so that I can spray a high gloss paint and not have a bunch of dust landing in my finish. So I'm duct taping every single seam there is. That means along the ceiling, along the floor, where my 2 or multiple pieces of plastic meet. I'm wanting to duct tape every single seam. Like, do not miss a seam, because you're trying to make it as airtight as possible. Next thing, I want to cover up my ceiling. So for this, I'm just using a really thin masking film for this. It's much thinner plastic than what my walls are made out of. So I've just, from each side of the booth, I attached it to the walls and then unfolded it and taped it up to the ceiling so that I don't have all that dust from the ceiling being knocked off whenever I start spraying. Okay, so since I am creating a negative air pressure booth, and negative air pressure just means that more air is being pulled out of the room than is being pulled into the room. So I'm attaching these furnace filters, and there are arrows printed on the furnace filters that show the direction of the airflow. So I'm pointing that arrow to me because I'm wanting air from the outside of the booth to be pulled into the room through these filters. So I'm taping them into the wall, and then on the outside I run my razor around the filter, and then I tape it on the outside too, because I don't want air to be leaking from around. I want it to make sure that the air is just coming through the filter and not seeping around the edge of the filter. And then on the other wall that's directly opposite from the one I was just working on, I'm putting these filters lower down to the ground because I'm going to place my fan in front of these filters on the outside of the booth. And I'm making sure that the arrow that's printed on these filters is pointing away from me. It's pointing out, because I'm taking air from the inside of the booth and forcing it to go outside of the booth on this wall. Here you can see where I'm cutting the plastic out from the outside of the booth around this filter. I simply take a straight razor and run it along the cardboard of the edge of the filter, and then I duct tape every seam. Okay, so I'm going to put the back of my box fan against the filter, so it's going to be pulling air out of the booth and out into the room. So back of the fan against the filter. I've just taped it in place so that it stays put whenever I turn it on. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to bring you a very important disclaimer. The fan that you see me using in this video is not an explosion-proof fan. It's just a regular plain box fan, one that you can get at Walmart. You probably have one in your bedroom right now next to your bed so that you can sleep at night. It is not intended for use in settings such as this, where we are spraying paint or atomizing a combustible material. I don't actually run this fan as I'm spraying. I will turn the fan on and filter the booth before I spray. When I actively am spraying, I turn the fan off, and then once the overspray that I've created in the booth has a chance to settle after I'm finished spraying, then I will turn the fan back on. So if you are doing this at home, I need you to, be safe. I want you to research and do your due diligence and what types of fan will work with this and what products you're going to be spraying, because I want everybody to be very, very safe and make smart choices and know that they do actually make explosion-proof fans that are intended to use in settings such as this, where we're going to be painting and atomizing combustible materials. Of course, they are quite a bit more money. I just have not personally invested in one quite yet. It's on my list to do so, but the purpose of this video that I'm showing you right now is to show you how you can make a fast temporary paint booth for the cheapest amount of money. So again, just everybody know, it's not the greatest idea to use a non-explosion proof fan whenever you're going to be spraying and atomizing solvent-based materials. So do your homework and don't do anything stupid. Okay, let's get back to the video. All right, now that we have our booth made, we need a way to easily get in and out of it. So I'm using 2 tarp zippers to make a doorway. You can make it as wide as you want or as narrow as you want, doesn't matter. They're super sticky. Stick it to your plastic with the zipper closed, and the zipper is going to be facing the ground. And then what you're going to do is open the zipper all the way up and slice through the plastic using a single blade razor, and then voila, you have a door. Okay, now we have a fresh, clean paint booth. The only thing left to do is to load in your project and start painting. In this case, you can see I'm working on a high gloss china cabinet, and let me tell you, there is nothing that feels better than having like a nice, clean, fresh booth in which to paint in. It's so nice. But you can see in this clip here where the air is getting really cloudy. That's from all the overspray that I'm creating. After I'm finished spraying, I will let that overspray fall, maybe give it 30 minutes or so, and then I will turn that fan on, and the fan will draw the air out of the booth, which in turn, I'm having fresh air drawn into the booth through the filters that we cut and put into the walls. So it's just working like a big cycle. So the fan is drawing the air out of the booth, which in turn draws fresh air into the booth, and yeah, keeps on going. So this is just a really great way to keep the dust out of the environment so it doesn't land in your fresh paint as it's drying, because this is a traditional oil paint that takes 24 hours to dry. So anyway, hopefully this helps you. If you've got any more questions, just let me know down in the comment section. I'm always happy to help when and where I can. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today.